Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this opinions video. We are recording this earlier than we usually do, so we haven't had as many responses. That's okay. It's about quality, not quantity, but I am off to America. I am packing and heading to the airport, so unfortunately I can't do this at my usual time. I am recording it earlier. But as we said, we've had some really good responses and I didn't want to go without doing this video, so let's get stuck into it, shall we? So here Rico said, I'm interested in how Rhea's injury changes plans. We saw Cody's injury forcing Edge to get kicked out of Judgment Day, needing to make him a face. Finn had weird energy with Priest, I agree with that, maybe alluding to a Judgment Day split. I feel bad for the next women's champion. What kind of reign can you have? What I would say is, we see this quite a bit where there's injuries and they change plans. I think once you go down a different path, you're really going down a different path. So, like, for example, we were meant to get Gunther Brock. We didn't get that match. We ended up getting Gunther Sami, and it was a title change. And I don't think we were going to get a title change. I don't think Brock was going to beat Gunther. So all of a sudden, we've ended up with the title change where I don't think we were going to get one at WrestleMania. Now, granted, maybe Sami was going to win the IC title on the Raw after Mania. We don't know. But, you know, plans changed there. And I think, you know, plans have changed here. I think this is a great opportunity for someone. Maybe, rather than go back to a Becky, we can use this to try and build someone. There's a lot of women that are kind of in that sort of mid-card area. I'm thinking like a Shayna Baszler, a Zoe Stark, right? Maybe even a Nia Jax, who I don't know if she's going to get her hands on a women's championship anytime soon. Maybe she will now, but otherwise I'm not sure that she would have. So I'm kind of looking at a few women there thinking there's maybe a opportunity to invest in someone that was not going to get this kind of investment. And if it works and they kill it and they're doing great promos and they're really getting reactions, I think when Rhea comes back in a few months' time, she's going to want to go after Liv. If Liv's not the champion, then you've got a good story for Liv and Rhea. And then you've also got your champ who can just continue being champion, right? Eventually they will collide with Rhea, but who knows? Maybe Liv costs Rhea. Maybe it's a case that the champ has done enough to keep the title. Who knows about the draft as well? I mean, there's a whole draft that's going to be coming up soon, so there's so many unknowns and there's so many moving parts that what I would say is if you've got an opportunity to get a title that maybe you weren't going to be getting, you grab it with both hands and you make it work. That is the golden ticket. So you move mountains to make it work. I honestly don't know who's getting it, right? We did actually, during the live stream, have a look at some of the options. And as I said, Nia, Becky, Shayna, Zoe, those were the kind of names that were standing out to me. But maybe we go with a complete curveball. Perhaps we throw it on a Candice LeRae. Perhaps we go with an Indi Hartwell. I mean, I don't think we will. But I'm quite excited, to be honest. Quite excited. In a way, this kind of protects Rhea. She's lost the title, but she didn't lose the title. She's had to vacate it. She now goes away, which means we're going to miss her. When she comes back, it's going to be a great moment. It's after WrestleMania, so it didn't cost her her Mania match. She should be back before SummerSlam. So she should still be able to make it for SummerSlam if she is out for just a couple of months. So timing-wise, not the worst. The fact that she didn't get beat for the belt, not the worst. The fact that she can make a heroic return, not the worst. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of positives, I think. I totally get your points. Totally get your points. What kind of reign can you have? Well, that's going to be down to the booking and down to the person that gets that opportunity. Mark said it was a very enjoyable Raw. The show ticked along nicely. The new belts are great. Yeah, I know I've said this a million times. I wasn't sold on them at first. You know, if you go back and look at the watch along, I ain't screaming the place down with how beautiful they are when they first get shown. The first thing that jumped at me was the big round front plates. Yes, they were more detailed than the previous belt, but the red behind didn't look quite right under those lights. You really, really needed to see the picture from WWE Shop or the image that they tweeted out. So much better. I thought the unveiling of the belts was actually quite poor. But that's for another time. Sami had entrance of the year. Main event was fantastic with a great closing angle. Very upsetting about Rhea. Cody was right to thank Seth in his promo. Chris541 said the transition to the main event was so refreshing. Ryan said losing Rhea is going to be a big hit to Judgment Day. She's the one that kept the group together during the tough times. Wishing Mommy a speedy recovery. I smell a Damian face turn. New look tag titles were great. Nice to see Sheamus back. Cody, kind of boring. Gable heel turn and inevitable, but still shocking. The Cody thing's interesting. I suppose he just didn't really have much to say, did he? He just sort of responded to The Rock's video message and then had a few words for Jey, and that was it. You know, I'll yeet you later. And that was that. So, yeah, he's got business on SmackDown, hasn't he? That's where his business is. Prakar said, good to see Sheamus return. Him and Drew clash for the title in Scotland. Gable turned heel, but what about Alpha Academy? Should they turn heel? Or after Chad wins the Intercontinental title, would we see him versus Otis? Liv win next week, and we will see Rhea's revenge tour. Well, I'm struggling to see Maxxine and Tozawa. Like, I think all those guys, and Otis to a degree, all strike me as baby faces. You know, Otis is, I don't know, he could be a heel, but like Tozawa as a heel, Maxxine. I don't know. I don't know. I'm struggling a bit to see that. I think Maxxine may have been a heel when she was with Maximum Male Models, but we just never really saw Maximum Male Models. And plus also she was more of a managerial role then rather than a wrestler. I think they stay face, to be honest. I think they stay face. I think there's a breakdown of this group, and I have seen people saying, could we actually turn the Creed brothers? Imagine if Chad dumps Alpha Academy and aligns with the Creed brothers, and then we get like this new faction. That would be pretty sick. Chris said, another great show. Chad Gable, mind blown. Jill said, we all thought the final boss was throwing his corporate weight around in WrestleMania season, but now Triple H gives himself and his buddy Shawn the #1 contender spot for the tag titles. The scandal! Yeah, R-Truth saying, you can't fool me, Tommaso. That was a fun moment. And there was some fun interaction between him and Triple H. I did say, though, during my review, I think I would have just shown the titles off a bit better first, because during that whole segment, I just wanted to see the belts better. I just, like, you know, you've unveiled them, but there was never a great look of them. Like, you couldn't really make out the detail of the belts. So I really was looking for that. So yeah, I kind of wish we'd just shown the belts off a little better first and then done the banter. But you can't go wrong with R-Truth, can you? Marco Prime Gaming said it was a great Raw. WWE is really continuing the ball rolling. It stinks that Rhea vacated the belt, and the new tag belts look awesome. Chad turning heel at the end of the show was the cherry on top. Every episode is making you want to tune in to the next. It's a perfect way to jumpstart this new era. That's a great comment. Love that. Melanie said, who's going to be the new women's champion? Well, I think we've touched on a few names. I mean, I can't narrow it down to one. Right now, I would think Liv is probably the favorite. But as I said, there is probably an argument for not putting the belt on her, because at least that way, when Rhea comes back, they can feud. And then the champ can keep being the champ, you know? Because really, when Rhea comes back, she's going for Liv. So that's a ready-made feud. So do we need the belt to be in that feud? I would argue no. I would say we don't need that feud and the title to be involved. It's not really about the title. It's more, I would say, have like someone win the belt, have Liv then try to win that title in a few months' time, and maybe have Rhea interrupt in the match. Rhea prevents Liv from winning the title. Rhea comes back, it starts a feud. Whoever it is that has the belt just continues to be champion. So if I was on creative, I'd look at something along those lines. Jimmy Rabbit said, I have no idea what the SmackDown tag title is going to look like, but I hope it doesn't have blue incorporated into it. I'm also guessing they will just be called the WWE Universal Tag Team Champions, but we will see. Well, the streets are saying just WWE Tag Team Champions. I think they'll drop the Universal. Universal's not really connected with the tag belts. That's more just for Cody's belt. And I think they're going to look to drop it from Cody's belt as well, to be honest. So WWE Tag Team Champions for SmackDown and WWE World Tag Team Champions for Raw. In regards to what the belt looks like, I think there's a couple of designs. The first one would be the same, but rather than a red backing, it would be a blue backing behind the text. The other one would be something a little more in line with Cody's belt and Io's belt. Just like a big WWE logo in the center. Because if you actually look at the belts, they're all very similar. If you think about Rhea's, Damian Priest's, and then these new belts that have been shown, you can see they kind of belong in the same family. And then if you look at SmackDown, you look at Cody's belt, you look at Bayley's belt, then, you know, could it be something similar to those? So there's a couple of designs that I'm sort of expecting. One of those. I think it would be nice if it copied the Raw tag belts, to be honest, because these are equal, aren't they? They both are the same. So you could mirror them that way. But what I would say is that the two women's belts are the same and they don't mirror each other. So I think if I was a betting man, I might say it's going to resemble Bayley's belt and Cody's belt because it's over on SmackDown. But we're going to have to wait and see. They might come out with a brand new design, and that will be exciting because if it's a brand new design, people will then start asking, are we changing Cody's belt? Are we changing Bayley's belt? So Friday should be very interesting when we see that new title design. JD Jr. said Rhea relinquishing the title is a bummer. Surprised they've already crowned a new champ next week. New tag belt was unexpected but a welcome change. Sami's entrance was beautiful. It made me emotional. I still think it should have been Gable at Mania. I welcome the heel turn. Yeah, why couldn't Gable have beaten Gunther and then Sami beat Gable in Montreal? And then Gable, who's only had a short run with the title, snaps and turns heel. Why did we do it this way, I wonder? I don't know. Zerluk said, I don't think much at all about it. I'm not going to pretend I want to see Uncle Howdy because honestly, I wasn't interested the last time. And I won't pretend now because Bray has sadly passed. I think that's fair. I want Taylor to do his own thing. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, there was bits about Uncle Howdy that I was not a fan of. I think that Uncle Howdy, I love White Rabbit. And I think I loved everything up until we saw Uncle Howdy. And then when he came out, I didn't find the character as scary as The Fiend. I didn't find his Titantron to be intimidating or anything. I just remember him sort of smiling, to be honest. He seemed quite happy. So, yeah, and then, of course, obviously that elbow drop at the Royal Rumble, that got heavily criticised. So, what I would say is, I don't think we really got up and running with Howdy. I think there may have been some teething troubles. I think that, you know, Taylor was still exploring the character, and we didn't really get it settled. So, I was willing to give it time. I think there's a big pressure now to deliver whatever they're going to deliver. So that they can honor Bray. And, you know, I can't help but be excited to see what they're going to come up with. I think as well, there was a lot of fingers in the pie, if you will. There was a lot of chefs in the kitchen. I think now there's probably, you know, Triple H that's really putting his foot down more. I think it was hard to put your foot down with Bray because it was his creation. Whereas now I think Triple H can be a bit more stern with, no, we're not going to do that. Yeah, we should do that. And I think that hopefully that's going to mean that we've just got a bit more of a guiding voice, you know. I think at times Bray really took a lot of stuff to heart and really wanted things his way. And I'm sure he worked well with Triple H, but Triple H has commented before about how Bray was like a whirlwind. And like you would just think that you was about to get something nailed down and then he's off. You know, he's created something else. He's thinking about something else. And you're still over here going, no, should we do this? And he's off, you know? And I'd imagine that did make it quite challenging. So let's see, shall we? Let's see. Some of it may have been teething troubles, and hopefully they've got a good, clear idea as to what they want to achieve. Kian said, can someone explain to me? I can. I'll do it. Can someone explain to me how Roman can go over 120 days not defending the title? Rhea has a slight injury and instantly has to vacate. Also, I'm so happy to see too many limes back. Sheamus said to the camera after the match, you wanted it, you got it. Also, the new tag titles are clean AF. So in regards to Roman, we know that he's got a special contract, right? It's not an answer you're going to like, but it's the truth. He's got a special contract. He's managed to negotiate himself to a position where he only has to work so many dates a year. So he can be champion and still honor his contract and not defend the title. He's still honoring his contracts, and he's still raking in money for the company. The ratings have been amazing. They mention Roman to kind of keep him relevant when he's not around. They had a bloodline built around him so that there was a presence. You know, I mean, it's all the little things like Heyman saying, "Call Roman Reigns." It just keeps him on the agenda, and then when he does come back, big ratings boost, right? Now, Rhea doesn't have that. Rhea doesn't have that contract. So that means that she can't work her scheduled dates. So for Roman, that he was making them money, he was getting them views. They basically put the company on his back. And even though he wasn't around much, he was still honoring the dates that he had to wrestle. In regards to Rhea, she has to work more dates. She doesn't have as great of a contract. She can't honor them. And because she can't honor them, that's it. She has to vacate the championship. So I can understand why it seems unfair, probably because it is unfair. But the honest answer is life is unfair. You know, if you can up your worth, if you can up your value, if you can negotiate yourself a better contract, then you will get those perks as well. So eventually, Rhea may be in that position. It's just going to take her quite a while to get there, just like it took Roman quite a while to get there. So those are the differences between the two, right? That's the best answer that I can give you. And Kian also said those new tag titles are clean AF. Logan said, good Raw, my rating will be 7.9. I'm hoping for Io Sky to draft on Raw because Io Sky is the next women's champion. I knew Chad turned heel would be good. Love the tag titles or world tag titles, but still no women's IC and women US champion. Hopefully opening the forbidden door in Marigold and NXT, do you think? Yeah, I think so. I think Marigold, which is Ross's new promotion, I think that will work with NXT. And I think that, I don't know how close they'll work. I just think when there's someone that's ready, and someone that WWE are interested in, it'll just be a smoother process. And I think if Rossi needs some women to go over for a match, I think we can supply that as well. So again, I don't know how close they're going to work, but clearly there's a relationship there. JTNS said those behind the glitch teases could be a source of intrigue. Are they working with Uncle Howdy or against him? Could he have an agenda? Maybe even claiming to carry out Bray's true purpose. He could target those who wronged Bray in the past, blurring the lines between revenge. Okay, so the glitch teases, are they working with Howdy or against him? Well, I think the consensus is that it is Howdy. So I don't think at the moment that we're expecting this to be a group of people that are trying to work against Howdy, because the problem is Howdy's not around. So why bring in a load of people for someone that's not around? It feels like you've got to bring Howdy back first before you then bring some enemies for him, you know? You bring Howdy back first and then you bring in a load of people to deal with Howdy. So I think this is going to be Howdy, right? I think it's Howdy. I think Braun. I think Alexa. I think Rowan. Those are the kind of names that people are talking about. But very interesting to think of it from a different perspective. Harry said, mate, I'm so hyped about the QR code stuff. I'll talk about Liv here. Why not take a gamble and put the title on her? See what she's all about holding a world title. She's already getting heat from this. Rhea won't be out for the rest of the year. So I would say a safe gamble. Thoughts? Well, I would say if I was in a creative meeting and someone said, should we go with Liv? I would not drastically oppose it. The only thing I would say is that I think that Rhea said she was going to be out for a few months. So when she comes back, she's going to feud with Liv. Do we want that feud to be for the title, when I would argue that we could have a champion who defends their title and tells normal championship stories, and then we've got the luxury of a secondary women's story that doesn't need the title. It's not about the title. They both injured each other. Rhea in kayfabe put Liv on the shelf and took a year of her career. And the other way round, Liv ended Rhea's championship reign. Both of these are out for blood. So you could do it. I wouldn't oppose it. I wouldn't have an issue with it. But I would be tempted to actually build up someone as a surprise, like a Zoe Stark or a Shayna Baszler, when people are expecting it to be Liv, and maybe even Liv is expecting it to be Liv. But you actually go with someone else. Liv's furious, right? Brings out her aggression again. She, is kicking off with people. You're kind of like developing her character a bit. She's leaning into that darker side. And just as she's about to get this title match and title opportunity, Rhea returns. And then you've got two stories, a champion with their story, and Rhea and Liv. So I would not be opposed to it if people wanted to go down that path, but I would offer that as an alternative. Nando said, I know I'm in the minority, but I'm not a fan of the Uncle Howdy or the QR code stuff. However, I did love Raw. DIY getting another shot. Andrade TV time, and feeling like a star. Finn possibly facing Damian soon for the title. It feels like main roster NXT edition, but I hate Chad's booking. He deserves better. I'm glad he at least turns, because first losing after entering last in a gauntlet, then missing Mania, now losing to Sami again. It hurts to see as a fan. Well, honest opinion is all we ask for. So if the QR code and the Howdy stuff is not for you, respect, right? Because honestly, it ain't going to be for everyone, is it? Very little in wrestling, if anything, is. So respect. In regards to Chad, I totally see where you're coming from. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make sense to me either. But I suppose they can just use it as a way for him to now snap, can't they? He's snapped, and I think we can all go, yeah, makes sense. I'd snap as well. So I think we can see why it's happened. Duquette said, finding out where the secret leads is definitely worth it. Not impressed with the new belts. Oh, love the end camera from Jey to Sami. Gio DeFio said QR codes are back. I absolutely love the QR codes, and I'm trying to solve puzzles and figure out what this whole story return may be. I was very entertained trying to figure everything out on my PC whilst Raw was on in the background. Chris said, it feels weird in modern WWE for the champ to show up regularly. Cody has already been out working Roman in 2 weeks. Last time I witnessed this was the McMahon-Helmsley faction. He does need a new belt, or at least get comfy with this one, as it's bigger than he is. So there we go, the thoughts of Chris. Let's have a look and see if we've got any. Oh, we do. Kian said, I thought it was okay, Raw. I thought the matches were good. Jey versus Finn felt like normal one-on-one without any interference. Sami versus Chad was good. Chad turning heel. This means Alpha Academy is splitting up. I have a feeling. Overall, I enjoyed the show. The new tag titles look sick. 7.5. And it's Bryn again. Says, one thing to say. We need Rowan. And that's it. It was shorter, but I think we got a real taste as to what people were thinking and feeling. But yeah, you know, as I said, I have had to record this a bit earlier than I usually would. But no, appreciate all the feedback. Appreciate everyone taking their time to share their thoughts. I don't know when the next opinions video will be. I mean, I will try and do one for Friday, but honestly, it's like heading into the great unknown with like Wi-Fi and everything. I just don't know. I really don't know what I'm going to be walking into, to be honest. So exciting. There should be some great content coming up on the channel. A big thank you for all of your support over WrestleMania, just over the whole season, really, over UFC 300, which was a really fun weekend as well. And of course, you know, the good times kept rolling with what I thought was a very noteworthy and fun episode of Monday Night Raw. So hopefully the good times keep on coming. So thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate the support. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.